Y'all, I love to travel, and I'm about to break down how I travel on a budget, why I travel, where I be traveling to, all the things travel. I have officially developed a reputation where when people call me or they check in with me after a long time of no communication, they like, so where are you going to next? Or where did you just come from? And so I love that I have that reputation. So just this year, well, first of all, I've been to 12 countries, and I'm counting Puerto Rico as a country, even though I know it's a U.S. territory. I'm counting it because it's a totally different culture. I've been to 12 countries, and I think my favorite was probably Costa Rica. Was probably my favorite. It's a toss up between Costa Rica and Aruba. Now, the first thing you got to remember is who you travel with. Okay. I don't want to offend nobody, but you got to make sure you're traveling with the right people. And I say that because the wrong person on a trip can make you miserable. Okay. Be careful who you take on a trip with you. Some people are fully itinerary people. They want something from soon as you wake up until the time y'all go to sleep. That's not me. Okay. If you give me an itinerary on my vacation, I might strangle you in your sleep. Huh? You heard what I said. I don't want to be micromanaged on my vacation during my private time. I'm a very much go with the flow type of person. Now, as long as the flight is booked, the hotel is booked, and we have an idea of what we want to do when we get there, I'm cool with that. But I absolutely, not as rainy, child. It must be a sign to take another trip. Hello. But I don't like to be I don't like everything mapped out for the whole day. I just need a general idea of what we're trying to do when we get there, and then we can do that. Case in point, for Portugal, I did Portugal in January with my parents. And we didn't have no plans when we went up there. We booked a hotel. I knew I wanted to go to a McDonald's because they had wings. And so I was like, well, I'm going to give me some chicken wings from McDonald's. I don't know if y'all remember the Mighty Wings from the 90s, but anyway, that might be before y'all time. But in Portugal, I Googled some stuff. Once we got there, I was like, what do tourists really do? And so I knew I wanted to go and see the colorful umbrellas on the cobblestone streets. I wanted to take a picture there. So we did that. I knew I wanted to go to maybe a museum or see like one of the oldest buildings in the country. And I did that. I also got food poisoning when I went to Portugal. So we stayed at a really beautiful hotel, but the last day I had breakfast, I got sick, and I think I may have accidentally eaten like either some bad meat or maybe some pork. I don't eat pork, and usually if I accidentally eat it, I do get a little sick. But Portugal was beautiful. I enjoyed it. Spain, pretty much the same. No plans when I got there. And we just had a blast. I went there for Valentine's Day weekend with my parents. And it was booked before I started dating that man. So for y'all, rip me a new one in the comments. But it was beautiful and I loved it. And that is how I like my trips. When I went to Thailand, everything was mapped out. We worked with a travel company. So everything was mapped out from the time we woke up to, like 5 in the evening. And that was a little annoying for me. So I said on the next trip, we're going to scale back the activities just a little bit because I don't like to be on the go all the time like that. But the biggest thing for me is who I travel with and how I get there. I'm always looking for a deal. I don't care what nobody says. I am the cheapest person you'll ever meet. And it does not mean that I don't like things that are of quality. What I'm saying is that if I don't have to spend thousands of dollars on something, I'm not going to. So a easy way I save money is, number one, I travel out of season. You heard me just say in January, I was in Portugal. That's their rainy season. In February, I was in Barcelona. It was still a little bit cold. It wasn't raining or nothing, but it was a little bit, it was less than favorable, weather conditions. When we did Thailand in March, it was like it's called burning season or something like that. And it's when a lot of the farmers there are burning the land, I guess, to turn it over for new crops and stuff like that. So the air quality is a little lower, but it didn't affect us much. We were in Chiang Mai and, the trees were green, the air was clean, nobody got sick, we didn't lose nobody, everything was cool. Same thing in Costa Rica. I was just in Costa Rica and it was starting in their rainy season. It sprinkled 30 minutes the whole time I was there. This is how I consistently book cheaper trips. The next thing I do is I go through these travel companies like Expedia or well, I'm not even gonna name nobody else. I be using Expedia. For me, Expedia has the best deals, and I love Delta. Delta is expensive sometimes, but I only use Delta because I have an American Express card and I use the points. So I have a regular American Express Gold card, and then I have a Platinum Delta Amex. So I use the Gold card for like food, groceries, and stuff like that. I get like 4 times the points on that. Or on that Platinum Delta card, I use that to book my trips because I get double the points on that, and I can transfer those points to miles in my Sky Miles account for Delta. So every now and then I'll either get a free trip or a free upgrade or free, club access or something. There's always some type of perk that comes with it. And so I love that part of maxing out, those points and stuff like that. When I went to London in October of last year, that trip may have cost me $100 and something. I booked it completely on points. I want to say it was about 114,000 points. And I had just gotten my card the year before. So it took me, I want to say altogether about 10 months to rack up the points to get that free trip. But it was beautiful. I flew there nonstop on Delta, and I had a blast when I got there. It was a 4-star hotel. I was able to add a rental car on there. And another thing I do is I book through Delta Vacations. It's starting to rain a little hard now, y'all. But another thing I do is I book through Delta Vacations because I like everything bundled. When we just went to Costa Rica, we booked that on points. It was maybe like $250 for 4 days in Costa Rica. And we got private airport transportation to and from the airport. So everything was just very convenient. And I like that for me. I travel because I like the slowing down of things in other countries. When you here in America, you wake up and it's already stressful. You wake up, you turn on the news, the president done did something else crazy. We've lost another right as either a black person or as a woman. Cost of living constantly skyrocketing. It's foolishness, complete foolishness. So I treat my vacations exactly like what they should be. Scouting to see where I want to live when I officially, choose to move abroad, because I don't see myself living in America for the rest of my life. I don't see myself being an American citizen until the day I die. I have completely come to grips with the fact that I want to move somewhere else. Thailand was beautiful and extremely inexpensive. I want to go back to Bangkok, but that 26-hour flight, I don't know if I could do it again so soon, but I did enjoy my time there. Y'all know I went with my homegirl, Lene, and we had a group of people that came with us. We will be doing another trip, so I'll let you know when that drops, and I think it's going to be Costa Rica. But I love going to other places because it's just not like that. Like the stress that we feel here in America, not being able to make ends meet and constantly feel like we're on a hamster wheel of just work, 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 and we're just making money to barely survive so we can die. It's just not like that in other countries, not to mention universal health care, clean drinking water, and air to breathe, childcare, and actual resources for citizens of other countries. So I'm telling you guys this, not because I'm not trying to fearmonger, because people are like, well, if you don't want to be in America, you don't have to be. Hey, shut up. Shut the hell up and go to hell, okay? Shut up and go to hell. Because to travel, I understand, can be expensive. That's why I'm trying to give y'all some tips and tricks that I be using. Also, I fly out on a Wednesday or a Thursday and I come back on a Sunday. I don't know why, but it always be less expensive for me. Okay. I'm sharing this information with you because I know that it is a very real possibility that a lot of people will not want to be here in the next few years based on the state of the economy and where things are headed. And so I understand that it takes a little money and it takes time to save up. So go ahead and do it right now. Figure out what type of visa you might need to go to whatever country you might want to go to. There are plenty of people, content creators, influencers, educators that are all over social media that are giving you this information for the free. Okay, search these people out and get the information that you need to understand what it is that you might, be looking at if you want to move to China or move to Thailand or move to somewhere in Europe. Because when I went to Portugal, baby, I was sold. I was absolutely sold. I could see myself living in a city called Setúbal, which is about 30 minutes outside of Lisbon. The most beautiful place I'd ever seen. I love a cobblestone street, y'all. I felt like I was in some type of old 1920s Italian movie. It was just absolutely gorgeous. People were friendly and nice and smiling. And now, don't get me wrong, racism is everywhere, okay? As a black, as a black, you're gonna run into some people that stare at you. When we were in Thailand, people stared. I don't know if they was just confused, they had never seen niggas before, but they was acting like they had never seen niggas before. So you're gonna run into that everywhere you go, but it's not as intense and as crazy as it is here in America. And I think when people travel, they're able to expand their minds and grow in a way that you normally would not be able to. Because if you've been in your hometown your whole life, baby, get up out of there, okay? There's only so much growing you're going to be able to do surrounded by your comfort zone and your safety net, okay? Figure out who you are without your mama always being in your business and without always being able to pick up the phone. Y'all, hold on now. Let me wrap this video up. Figure out who you are without the comfort of everything you've known since you were a child, and just grow. See who you are. Become who you are meant to be, and figure out what it is that you like, who you actually are outside of those things. Okay, y'all, I'm finna wrap this up because clearly the weather is getting ridiculous, okay? I'm gonna revisit this topic another time, but if you have questions about how I travel, when I travel, anything like that, please drop them in the comments, and whoever is playing with these lights, go to hell.